Hey everybody, Chevy Nobody Else's Auto here with our good friend Scott Liggett, RebelDryver's Garage. Now, we hang out together on that crazy little event called Rocky Mountain Race Week, which obviously, as you know, just deducted a whole bunch of IQ points from both of us.
Yes.
Because nobody that does that's real bright, but we have a ton of fun doing it.
Lots of fun, empty bank account.
Yeah, something like that. So Scott's down here today just doing some content for his channel, RebelDryver's Garage. Be sure to check that out. And you were here several months ago, and you come down to get a bunch of 65 Chevy parts. Well, today, you drove your 65 Impala down here.
Yeah. See, that's the fender missing over there. That's the one I took, and a few other parts off that car. And this fender's got to be replaced because it's a Bondo bucket and rust. So, and I got a really nice one. I got fender extensions that were really nice from one of these other 65s over here that he has. But I spent so much time doing that I didn't even get to film for like, I think 40 minutes.
Yeah, you were pretty much tired. You got here and you got all over these 65s and it's like, ah.
Yeah, and I never got, I filmed.
You kind of lost focus of filming when you got into the 65s.
Yes. Because, I mean, how often do you find rust-free 65 Impala fenders?
Not very often.
And header panels that haven't been run into brick walls.
Oh yeah, there's a minor detail like straight front headers.
Yes. This one on the car. This car, I bought it in Sacramento, 1996, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and believe it or not, I paid $1,500 for a 65 Impala SS that I drove home. $1,500 would not buy you a roached out sedan anymore.
No.
With no parts available on it. And I moved to LA, and this was my only car for a long time, and my daily driver. And that's the fourth header panel on this car because they've been hit so many times. And this is second set of fenders, second hood. So the car has been hit 5 times in 15 years of living in LA. Thankfully, it was just cosmetic fenders and sheet metal. They never got to the frame. Actually, that's the original front bumper still on the car. It's never been hit.
Well, that's good.
Yep. But I prefer real GM sheet metal. I work for my day job is working at an auto restoration shop, and I can tell you how much we fight with aftermarket stuff. So original sheet metal is so much easier, even if you have to do a little bit of patching on it.
At least you know it's going to fit.
Yes. And a lot less cursing and throwing of tools. So as a matter of fact, I bolted this on in my driveway in my apartment in LA in the weekend. The entire front clip came off, and I rebolted it back on by myself, piece by piece, and I just reused all the shims where they were, and they all fit. Look at that. And that was, oh my gosh, 14 years ago. 14 years ago. That was 14 years ago. So I'm still driving on it. When I moved out here, I moved to Nebraska. I brought my Impala with me. That was what I drove out here. It was 1,800 miles. And since I've owned this car, this has been my primary transportation. It's my road trip car. Excuse me, my nose is itching. And I've driven it over 120,000 miles. It's on its third engine, fourth transmission, second rear end. I've rebuilt the suspension probably twice over the years. I've drag raced it, autocrossed it, driven it everywhere you can think of. And that's what I think a car is for. I get weird questions from people at grocery stores. Why are you driving out here? It's a car. You drive a car. You don't put it in your garage and wipe it with a cloth diaper, okay? And that's how I feel about it. I did some custom touches on it. You can see on the hood, there's some custom touches on it, but we'll let Chad.
Let's go take a walk around it real quick.
Sure. Okay. So this is a 65 Impala. It was not originally black. It was originally Evening Orchid. And if you want to know what Evening Orchid is, it's a kind of a pink champagne. I'll have Chad come around to the door here because the Evening Orchid's still in the door jambs. That is kind of a pink champagne color. It was 1 year only. Pontiac had it as well in 1965. It was called Iris Mist. And it's a fairly rare color, but it isn't the rarest color of the 65s.
It is a cool color, though. I've always liked that color.
Yeah, I'm still trying to convince myself 27 years later to repaint the car that. The reason why it's flat black, or this is like Eastwood's rat rod black, it's a single stage paint, is because I said it'd been hit 5 times living in LA. So the fenders are turquoise, the hood was yellow with something, and then the header panel was red and tan, and because I went through 4 of them, and then I think it was a mist blue one as well, and I have another mist blue one.
Off that car right there.
Yeah, that's mist blue. You can see it on the inner fender on the cowl side there. I rattle canned it originally when I put it all back together in 2010. Well, the accident was when I had to replace the front clip was like 2007, and I rattle canned it. And then I was friends with John McGann of Hot Rod Magazine now, and he was at the Hot Rod shop on the 4th of July 2008, and I was hanging out with him, and we found a can of Eastwood's Rat Rod Black sitting on the shelf. We got a little tipsy, or a little, I don't know, and shot the car in basically 4 hours. We scuffed the car, took the mirrors and taillight lenses off, scuffed it with Scotch-Brites, masked it off, and shot it. And this is 16 years later. It's still on the car, amazingly. It's coming off in places. It's like coming off on the roof. But the car really didn't have very pretty paint on it. And it's really coming off. Every time I wash it, I lose more on the back here between the trunk. Back here is going back to the original Evening Orchid the way I found it. And it wasn't really, I don't know what that color, I mean, it was like sanded off or something, but when I first built it, when I first bought it, I bought it from a kid who had dreams of turning it into a lowrider. So it had 175, 75, 14 JCPenney white walls on it, and a junkyard engine and transmission. It was a Nova 350 from a 69 because it said so in the junkyard yellow paint that they marked everything.
So you knew exactly where it came from.
And it barely ran. The transmission was the same car. And it went into reverse like 50% of the time. So I got really good at backing this car into parking spaces. So people always ask me why I do that. And I had a 380 in California in 1996. You had to smog anything newer than 65. So that's why I bought it. I looked for a long time to find a decent one. And I had a 383 that I had just built in a 73 Impala, but I had to emissions test it every 2 years, which was really annoying. So I put that in here with a turbo 350, drove that for 100,000 miles. I changed it from a turbo 350 to a 4-speed overdrive, which was a stick shift one. And then, and now it has, let me show you, this Blueprint engines. Power adder, small block 400. It doesn't have the power adder on it yet. And it's heavily modified from stock, as you can see. I have a hydro boost from an Astrovan. That's a CPP disc brake kit with a Hurst line lock. These are CPP tubular A arms. Coney adjustable shocks. This is all because back when I was autocrossing the car. And the engine itself is painted Evening Orchid, as you can see.
Notice that.
Yeah, I wanted something different than all the chrome. So it is a Blueprint Engines 400. It's designed for power adders, so it's beefed up. It has 6-inch H-beam forged rods, forged crank, forged custom pistons, 9.5 to 1 compression. They're Blueprint heads. It makes 515 horsepower naturally aspirated. And that's an 850 double pumper. The Hydro Boost and that you see on there, I got that out of a junkyard Astrovan. I spent $400 on hoses and fittings on my $35 junkyard Astrovan. But I like the Astrovans, and I was actually checking your Astrovans you have here for Hydro Boost because I like them. They don't wear out because they don't weigh nothing.
Yeah.
The fuel system is kind of set up. I'm going to put turbos on it. That's why there's no battery in front anymore. and it's got full MSD ignition. You can see the clutch reservoir for hydro clutch. That's from American Powertrain. It's their Hydromax setup. And now behind it is a 6-speed T56 Magnum from American Powertrain. And I love it. Double overdrive transmission. Sorry, I got all my coolers and stuff in here for my road trip. The front seats aren't original. So those are Scat Pro cars. The original front seats destroyed my back, and in '65 they used stamped steel legs that were riveted to the tracks, and they would one was the rivets were wore out on the driver's side, so the seat would go back and forth every time I went around a turn, no matter how tight the seatbelt was. The back seat's still original. The door panels are not original. They're actually from another '65 Impala that got restored and I kept. Same with the carpet. I didn't have carpet in this car when I bought it. It wasn't a great running and driving car when I bought it. It had problems going home in the name of the heater cord that peed all over the floor, the reason why there was no carpet in it. And the battery died at the gas station. And also at the gas station, I tried to fill it up, and when gasoline started pouring out of the gas tank, I took the nozzle tried to take the nozzle out of the gas tank, and I ended up taking the entire filler neck out of the gas tank and poured gas all over the ground, only to get yelled at by everybody. So, what else? This car originally was a 275 horse, 327 Power Glide with a 10-bolt rear end in it. I just took the 10-bolt out. I have an upgraded 12-bolt in it now. It has front and rear Hellwig sway bars on it. I boxed the original trailing arms on it for more strength and try to keep down the wheel hop. The trunk now it's full of tools now on my spare tire, but I have a shutoff here because I had the batteries in the trunk. And I had these off the car for almost 20 years, and the day after I put them back on, I drill a hole in it so I can be legal for race week. That was a sad day. And so, like I said, I drive this everywhere. That's why it's not perfect. I haven't had the patience to tear it all apart and have it off the road for 2 years to totally restore it yet. So, you can see the quarter panel here is pretty beat up. This is the way I got it. When I bought the car, I found all this paperwork in the car, and I found the original owner's name in the car. They bought this at Stockton, in Stockton, California, at Chase Chevrolet, and I found his information in there. I gave him a call, and he said he drove it till 1975 and gave it to his 16-year-old son, who drove it like a 16-year-old son, and beat the car up. The quarter panel's all rusted and banged up, and it was hit and dropped. I think they drove it off the back of a curb because there's a dent in the frame right in front of the rear tire and on the quarter panel up there. And he proceeded to blow the 327 up and parked it underneath a pine tree for 19 years. The car was put back on the road in 1994, and it went through 3 owners between 1994 and 1996. I found all the bills of sale in the glove box. And somebody in 1994 paid $5,000 for this car.
Holy cow.
And I paid $1,500 for it 2 years later. And that's kind of but I just like, it's pieced together from stuff. I mean, these are like salvage yard taillights. This one doesn't, the inner ones don't match. I just got the backup lights working, so I put the backup lights back in it. Those are the originals. These are the originals here. These are, I don't know where I got those, probably at a junkyard. That's why they're missing the bullets. I didn't have the backup lights in it for 20 years. Because what I did in LA is because if you drive these with taillights on at night and then you go from taillight to brake light, there's not really a big brighter difference. And so I made these just taillights and turn signals, which made them much more visible. And they were LED bulbs, so really bright. So it was very helpful not to get rear-ended.
Yeah, it makes sense in LA traffic.
Yeah. But the ladies on the cell phones and the SUVs apparently could never see it. So, no offense, ladies, but put down the phone. It's pretty rusty on the body itself. When I moved to Nebraska from California, I first stopped in Ely, Nevada, to visit some friends, and it was Speed Weeks at Bonneville.
It's a good time to be going through.
Yeah, what's not was smart was driving it out on the salt.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, don't do that if you like your car. I'm sure there's all these guys driving hot rods out on the salt. Don't do that, because the rust you see in this car is from the salt, except for this down here. This was here when I bought it, and there's a little on the sides of the cowl too from all the pine needles in the cowl vents. But the rest of the rust on this car came from driving it on the salt, and that was a mistake. So, but like I say, I drive it everywhere. I am averaging with the 373 gears. Can you believe this? 373 gears, 500 horsepower, 850 double pumper Holly, and I get 20 miles per gallon on the freeway, doing 80 miles an hour plus.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's only 2,300 RPM at 80, or 2,200 RPM at 80 miles an hour. So the engine's loafing.
Yeah.
So it's I like to drive it more now that I've got it running after it sat for so long, after having no engine in it for a long time. I had to drive it, and I drive it every day to work. I finally washed it last night. It was filthy. They had bird poop on it and tree sap and all kinds of stuff on it. But maybe your viewers can make it. So maybe your viewers can help me. I'm trying to convince myself that maybe Evening Orchid would be really cool, right?
I've always liked that color.
Yeah. I found a 65 Impala color. It's original, that I love. And it's Danube blue.
That's a good blue too.
You never see these.
Yeah.
Never see a Danube blue 65 Impala. You never see Tahitian turquoise either. But this is the color I want. And
that's a good color too.
Yeah. I'm not really into original, so as you can see,
obviously
there's nothing original left on this car except the roof. But maybe your viewers can have a poll, all right?
Yeah, you throw it in the comments and Scott can check it.
Yeah. Am I stupid to paint it Danube blue? Or am I mean, probably people think I'm stupid because I put 69 Camaro Super Sport ice trays on the hood. But those are functional. Those are not just for looks. Those will actually get the hot air out from under the hood, especially when I go to turbos next year.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, it's going to have, you can see the pinstriping on the car. I laid this out because I've had this idea for years. It's Baldwin Motion-esque.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
So whether I go with Evening Orchid or that Danube blue, this is going to be white with probably a little pearl in it. And so it'll wrap around the entire butt, just like the Baldwin Motion cars of the 70s. These are just such big cars, and being a solid color is kind of a lot of color.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought I'd do something different. I tried for a few years to find the vinyl top trim and maybe do a white vinyl top.
Yeah.
But vinyl tops were really popular in 1965, not like they were in the 70s. I mean, like this car over here has the trim runs around it. That's a 4-door sedan. See, like this one doesn't. So trying to find that trim is real hard, and then it would be very expensive to have it restored too.
Yeah.
Because it is not made aftermarket. So, so those are my two choices. So I laid this out one night after drinking too many beers, and I just got $5 O'Reilly's pinstripe here and laid it out because I've had it in my head for so long that I had to see if it would work.
Well, after enough beers, it's always a great idea.
Yeah. I like it, so what the heck?
Yeah, it's your car, don't matter.
Yeah, but I'll be driving it home and hopefully not have any problems on the way home. I've done a lot of roadside fixes with it over the years too.
Well, Scott, appreciate you stopping by today. And
thank you for having me.
Rolled down in the Impala that you got parts for last time, so that's always kind of cool. We've done this a few times before when people drive their cars down. It's always cool to like put it right out there where you got parts at. And then talk about their cars. So sometimes that's kind of fun. So I'm glad Scott was able to do that.
Yes,
so.
I appreciate him letting me drive in here.
And you got a lot of cool footage today too, the way it sounds.
Yes, and I have other junkyard crawls. My channel kind of got started with junkyard crawls. So I got laid off for COVID, like a lot of people. And the government was paying me a lot of money to do nothing. And so we went to a salvage yard, and I got out my camera and started filming, and that's how my channel started. And there's other channels. I have a whole playlist on it's called Junkyard Crawls, if you want interested on it. It's RebelDryver's Garage. It's one world Rebel Driver. It's Y. RebelDryver is spelled with a Y. It's a long story. And, and then Garage. You can find a lot of stuff on there. I have videos on this car. I have videos on other projects I've had over the years. I'm currently working on my boat.
I knew you had some boats too.
Yeah,
So.
I got boats. I have a 1974 Lund Tempest GT jet boat in my garage right now.
Okay, that means nothing to me, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, it looks like one of the boats from the James Bond movie, Live and Let Die.
Okay.
That was I saw that, and I was kind of like, you know, I was a car guy, and because there was car chases and boat chases, so that did me in as a 6-year-old. So, and I finally got a boat that kind of looks like one of the boats they drove in there.
Well,
and,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's got a souped-up 350 in it, so it sounds real cool too.
Well, good.
Yeah, but that one's called, it's bright gold, so it's Project Goldfinger. This is Evil Orchid. A bunch of my friends named it Evil Orchid, which I'll probably end up changing the name by paint it blue.
True.
Sure.
Yeah.
But thank you for watching, and thank you for Chad for having me.
Scott, appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
Check out his channel. Check out what his perspective on what's here. Obviously, we do a lot here that I show you. Check some of it out from Scott's perspective. Scott, thanks for coming down. Hope you have a good trip home. And I'm sure we're going to run into you again here soon.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I like that door.
You do a lot of that when you're out here, don't you?
Yeah, well, my worst problem is I don't see parts cars. I see project cars. See, all of these are project cars. Yeah, project cars. Come over here and buy them from Chad and make them run and drive again.
You're gonna live to be 1,500 years old, or?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna pretend like I am.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed Scott's car. We're gonna get back to work, get a few things done. Scott's gonna get back on the road here after a while for his trip back. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Something a little bit different. Stay tuned. We got a lot more cool stuff coming up.